Hey guys, I wanted to hop back on here one more time. We went through this as a class on a video meet today, but some of you couldn't join us. And I did record that kind of walkthrough, but some of the audio went in and out, so I wanted to record it one more time for you guys. So I'm Mrs. Brown, and I've attached my email address to this video in case you need to get a hold of me. I am the math instructional coach at McNair Junior High, and I also teach a couple of 6th grade pre-AP classes, but I will be teaching Bridge this year to you guys. So some of you may know that we usually do 2 different options for Summer Bridge. We usually have a live teacher. We've been doing distance learning for so long now that we have a regular classroom that students usually would attend at one of our high schools, or we have an online option where students may have traveled during the summer or something like that, so they couldn't make the classroom option work. This year, with everything that's been going on, we're going to have a very different kind of Summer Bridge program. So what will happen is you will have access to a live teacher in me, Mrs. Brown, and you will also be working in the Imagine Math pathway. So I'm going to go through kind of the expectations for class right now with you guys, and then if you have any questions, you can email me or send me a message on Google Classroom, and I will get back to you with the answers to your questions, okay? So again, I would like for you and your parents, so if you have a cell phone, please sign up also, to sign up for Remind. Sometimes it's just easier to send a real quick text message than it is to email or get into Google Classroom. So it's 81010, and you're going to type the message at RMJH Bridge. And that way you will be signed up for our Remind classroom for Summer Bridge. All right. So most of what we do is going to be through a Google Meets Hangout. So I have some kind of guidelines for that on the right of your screen. But what's most important that you need to know is that I will have daily office hours Monday through Thursday. And those will be from 10:30 to 11:30. There are no office hours on Fridays. Office hours are for questions about Imagine Math as you work through. Sometimes Imagine Math can be very challenging, especially guys, because you are going to be seeing a lot of content that you have never worked on before. So it's only natural that you have questions. So we have daily office hours from 10:30 to 11:30. It's come and go, get your questions answered, that sort of thing. We're also going to do something a little bit different, and this is what makes Summer Bridge a little bit different than years past, is we're going to have some live video lessons. Those will happen 2 to 3 times per week, depending on the content that we're covering for the week. I will have those live lessons scheduled on a weekly calendar, and I'll show you the weekly calendar here in just a second. Live lessons will begin on week 2, and the live lessons will follow the scope and sequence for Summer Bridge. So let me show you the scope and sequence really quickly. So we're working in week 1, and that's over integers. It has 3 topics, but it also has 3 Imagine Math lessons that go with it, and I will show you those here in a minute. Week 2 and 3 is over rational numbers, and there are 7 Imagine Math lessons that go with that. It is the most, those 2 weeks have the most Imagine Math lessons that correspond with them. Week 4 has 4 Imagine Math lessons, and week 5 for proportionality has 6 Imagine Math lessons. So this is just to give you a little guideline. Summer Bridge is designed to be self-paced, but in order for us to try to plan for live lessons, we have to stay within that scope and sequence. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is trying to stay on pace with the scope and sequence, or a little bit ahead. And I'll go into that a little bit more. Office hours and live lessons are encouraged but not required. So we definitely want you to attend, especially if you're struggling or you're finding something in Imagine Math is particularly difficult for you. We want you to come to those office hours and live lessons to get your questions answered. And hopefully we'll have some time in live lessons where we can get some questions answered. But if not, we really encourage you to attend those office hours. So like I mentioned before, Summer Bridge is self-paced, but we would like for you to either maintain the scope and sequence with us or work ahead. Try not to fall too far behind. I know things come up and that vacations were planned. Hopefully, if you can still go on them. So things happen, but we would like for you to try to stay on pace, and that's only because we need to finish the Imagine Math pathway by June the 30th, and we'll get into that a little bit later on also. So Google Classroom itself will be used for additional help and resources. So like we'll post videos, we're going through Google Slideshow right now, but there's no activities that you're gonna have to complete on Google Classroom and turn in for a grade. Your placement next year will be determined by the Imagine Math pathway for Summer Bridge. There are 20 lessons in the pathway. Each lesson can only be attempted 2 times. So if you fail or you're unsuccessful on a lesson, please try and attend a live lesson or an office hour before attempting the lesson again, because again, you only get 2 tries per lesson, and you must make a 70% to pass each lesson. We have taken out, if you're familiar with Imagine Math and you worked on it in 5th grade, we've taken out the option to test out with a pre-quiz. It's going to make you go through every single lesson. With the pre-quiz and then the guided practice part and the post-quiz, all of the little game that's within it, all of that will be included in the bridge pathway. There's no testing out. All right, so let's go over week 1. We're in the middle of week 1. It'll be absolute value, integer operations with models, and integer operations. Those little numbers with the letters that you see to the side are the standards that are covered within this lesson. And then the corresponding Imagine Math lessons to go with those topics. They're called something a little bit different, so I wanted to make sure that you had access to those as well. The first 3 lessons that you will work on in Imagine Math are absolute value 1, integers with a number line, and integer concepts. So, like I said, I will do a weekly calendar, and this is a suggested calendar, which means that you by no means have to follow it. But having some experience with junior high students, I realize that we sometimes need a little bit of help planning out our day and kind of keeping ourselves on a schedule. So I wanted to provide you with one in case that is you that I'm talking about. So for Monday, it was Memorial Day. Tuesday, we had a bridge planning day with the teachers. We have different campuses within Alvin ISD, and all the teachers that are doing 6th grade summer bridge got together and did some planning. Today is Wednesday, so today and tomorrow we'll have office hours, and the suggested work through for the rest of the week that if you can keep on pace and you want to keep on pace with scope and sequence is to follow the one that I have for you. So absolute value today, integers on a number line tomorrow, and integer concepts on Friday or prior to next Monday. And again, we have office hours every Monday through Thursday from 10:30 to 11:30. You're going to use the code RMJH6BRIDGE. And what you will do is if you are logged on to Google using your school information, you'll come to this little waffle right here. You'll go to the meet icon. You'll go to join or start a meeting, and you will type in RMJH6BRIDGE and then continue, and you will join that meeting, and that's where you can find me for office hours and for live lessons. Okay? Let me get back to my presentation. All right, so again, the first thing that you're going to do is absolute value. We have put together 2 videos for absolute value, and those are linked directly to this presentation. Anytime you see an underlined word here like this, or like the scope and sequence on the previous slide, it's going to be linked. So you're going to click on this link, and it'll take you to 2 videos that will give you some information about absolute value. After that, you're going to log into Imagine Math. Make sure that you are using your 6-digit student ID as the login and the password. Contact me if you need help. If you change it to something different, use that information. If you don't remember what it is that you changed it to, you're going to want to contact me so that I can get you your user ID and your password. But for the most part, most people have a 6-digit student ID, and they use that for the login and the password. Then you need to make sure that you are using the site code of 480-8090. The first time you log on to any device, it's going to ask you for that site code. Make sure that you are selecting the 2020 6th grade math bridge pathway. If that is the only pathway that has been assigned to you, it'll pop up and it'll look like exactly like the bottom, the little icon that you see at the bottom, the snapshot picture that we've taken for you. You should see the absolute value 1 lesson. If you have a teacher that during distance learning assigned multiple pathways within Imagine Math, you might have to go and select the pathway that says 2020 6 Math Bridge. If you have any issues with that, send me an email or comment on Google Classroom and I will try to help you the best that I can. But then going forward, you should see the absolute value 1 and you are going to complete that lesson. If you, for some reason, are unsuccessful on that lesson, please remember that you need to come to an office hour or a Google Hangout before going on to the next lesson, because we want to make sure that we can get you some support. Okay? Integer operations with models. So that will be the next lesson that you will come to. You'll watch the 2 videos for adding integers, and then we also have one for subtracting integers. You will log into Imagine Math. Again, make sure you use your 6 student ID, you have the site code, make sure you have the correct pathway selected, and you will complete the next lesson, which is integer concepts on a number line. If you're successful, awesome, you can keep moving. If you are unsuccessful, please make sure, again, that you attend some office hours and get some questions answered for you, okay? The last concept that we are working on this week is integer operations. We have an Alvin ISD curriculum video that we made during distance learning, so you can see that. That's attached. And then there are 2 videos over multiplying and dividing integers, which are also attached to the slideshow. Make sure that you log into Imagine Math using the correct information, selecting the correct pathway, and then you're going to complete the lesson, Integer Concepts. Okay? I'm going to check your pathway progress in Imagine Math every Thursday. We talked about during the live video chat a second ago that do you have to post the certificates for your completion for your lessons? You don't have to post those. If you want to, that's awesome. It shows me that you're working in the pathway and that you're completing your lessons, and that's fantastic, but it's not a requirement. If you want to post them in the classroom stream, great. If not, I will be checking your progress every Thursday. I'm going to contact you and your parents if I see that you're not working in the pathway, just to make sure that there isn't something that is keeping you from working in the pathway, or if you need some additional assistance on some things. I just want to make sure that we are keeping in touch and making sure that you are successful moving through this summer bridge process. The goal is to try and stay ahead or on pace with the class. So following the scope and sequence, that's where the live lessons are going to come from. We're following that. If you get a little bit ahead, that's awesome. I'm usually going to post that classroom calendar that we looked at a second ago every Monday, so you can kind of plan out the lessons. If you're working ahead of me, awesome. If you need to wait on kind of the videos and to jog your memory on some things first, that's awesome, and I will have those posted by Monday morning every week. So the only reason that we are asking for you to stay on pace or to work ahead is so we're completing the pathway on time. And again, we will be working on this bridge pathway, and it needs to be completed by June 30th. There are 20 lessons in the pathway. That was a question that was asked today, and a student actually answered that during our live video chat, so that's awesome. There are 20 lessons in the pathway. Successful completion of the pathway will determine your placement in the 6th grade APA math class next year. And remember, we are looking at the pathway. There will not be any additional assignments in Google Classroom other than things that will support you working in the pathway. My job is to be here to support you, answer questions, do office hours, live lessons, provide you with additional resources if you need for me to. But that's my job this summer, to be here for you guys. So ask questions, come to the office hours and video chats if you need things answered. Send me messages. I will get back to you, okay? And then let me know if you have any questions about anything that I've said, and I will get those questions answered also.